Hi there, welcome back to the Leeds lobby. It's good to see you. As discussed, we'd talk about the new signings at Leeds United, things that have happened this last week and what we expect to happen in terms of outgoings and incomings, what we're expecting to happen in terms of the starting 11 that we want to see this season. We're buying wingers, which seems a really strange thing, bearing in mind supposedly we are going to be a narrow team that are going to play without wingers, and how the Leeds United team is going to gel and fit together with these new players is something that everybody's asking the question. So what we thought we'd do is we've put together our starting 11, what we think is going to be a starting 11, and we're going to discuss each position in terms of what the backups may be.
Yeah.
Before you do that, before we go into that, what we'd like to ask you to do is subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down below. Click the notification button so that you get notifications on new subscriptions. And also, please comment. Let us know what you think and let us know what your opinions are. So without further ado, what we'll do is we'll begin by looking at who we think our goalkeeper is going to be, and we'll discuss that particular position. Dan, who do you think?
I think it's quite obvious.
If I'm doing my 11, my first person I think is going to be Ilan Meslier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So
you got to have Meslier in there. It's just, he's. You could argue that his confidence got knocked at the end of last season, but other than that, he made some important saves. And the season before that, he made some to get us into 9th place. He's been brilliant for us.
Next up is going to be our right back, which we think is going to be, I certainly think he's going to be Rasmus Christensen.
Yeah.
Again, this is a signing that I'm particularly excited to see. I think he's going to be absolutely phenomenal down that wing. I think he's going to give us some extra height, which we need in terms of defending and attacking set pieces. Yeah. He also looks like somebody that can take set pieces as well, which is, again, I'm not sure how that's going to work out with Sinisterra. I think he's also a set piece taker. So it's going to be interesting to see going forward where we look to see an attacking potency down that right wing.
And he can also play at left back. He plays all across the back line. He seems like a great player.
I think he's going to be a right wing back, and I'll explain that shortly.
Now, the controversial one, who would you have as your centre-back partnership?
For me, I think we've got to look to blood new guys coming through. We have got 4 or 5 centre-backs at the club. We've obviously got Cooper, we've got Llorente, we've got Strauch, we've got Koch. We've got arguably Hilda can play in that position as well. So we're in a situation where we've got a number of different players that can play in that position. But for me, a left footer and a right footer, I would be looking for Strauch, and I would be looking to put Koch in there. I think that Koch has played well for Leeds, and I think he's played out of position. He does actually play in a holding midfield role, and he plays it very, very well. My evidence for that is that Tottenham game when we battered them last season when Phillips was out. Koch was playing in that role and he played it very, very well. So for me, this would be my centre-back pairing. Again, Cooper's a good header of the ball, but what I'd like to see is these two having a run in the side together to get chances to gel. And again, Strike brings us a height, which is really, really important in defending those set pieces.
Who have you got at left back?
This is going to be quite controversial, and I'm going to explain my thinking, because with 4 players across the back, that makes the left back and not a left wing back. And I'm going to explain why I think that's going to be slightly different this season. We talked about Conte was wanting to perhaps bring Harrison in with a view to making him a left wing back rather than having him as a left winger. And if he can do that, then I'm sure that Jesse Marsh can do that. So for me, within this system, Jack Harrison is not a player that we're going to let go. I've heard Connor from One Leeds today, and I've also heard Just Joe say that he could be a player that we let go of with regards to signing De Ketelaere. For me, I would not be letting Jack Harrison go from this club at all. He's on the back of my Leeds shirt in terms of him having signed it. And I would say now, for nothing, he's had scored 1 less goal than Rafinha and had 1 less assist than Rafinha. How many times have we seen him get to the byline and cross that ball in and it'd be a yard in front of the keeper? Perfect for a number 9.
See, that's when we do my lineup. I've got some stuff to say about that. I was talking to Alan about earlier on. But you would have Jack Harrison at left back.
Absolutely, and I actually think that's how he is going to be used this season.
You're quite a big fan of Jack Harrison, aren't you?
And I'm quite adamant that he's going to adapt to that.
Yeah.
What I think makes that possible now is the signing of Tyler Adams. And I'll tell you for why. Because Tyler Adams can also play centre-back. What I think is that when Leeds are in a situation where they're transitioning to a defensive role, where we lose the ball and we start to defend, Tyler Adams is going to drop back and he's going to turn us into a 3. What that's going to allow is it's going to allow Jack Harrison to go bombing down the wing and interchange with his partner on that left-hand side and cross over And I think that Rasmus Christensen is going to do exactly the same with his partner on this side. What I actually think is that while these players are coming in, these players are going to be working down the wing. And we're going to find that Jack Harrison is going to be very, very active. He's a very active, very fast, very, very energetic player. And I think he will adapt to that role. And I think Rasmus Christensen, again, is going to also be an attacking force on that right-hand side. You've got to expect that Marsh is going to mirror that on the left-hand side. So we need to have an attacking player in that position.
And then I'm presuming Mark Rocker would go next to him.
Absolutely. Mark Rocker. And this is where the pivot comes, because Tyler Adams will drop back and defend, and Mark Rocker will spray the ball out.
I think with Tyler Adams and Mark Rocker, you've got the two biggest attributes of Calvin Phillips' game split into two: the winning the ball and then playing it out.
People are now talking about Charles de Ketelaere, whether we're going to sign Charles de Ketelaere. I personally don't think we will. I don't think he'll come to the club, and I also don't think that Rafinha is going, and that means that I don't think we're going to be spending any more money in this window. We may possibly bring in a backup keeper. We may possibly bring a little bit of cover for left back. I don't think we're going to sign this marquee striker. We may bring a youth player, 21, 22, 18, 19-year-old in that can potentially grow into that role. But for me, I think that, personally, I'm going to say this now, I think that Rafinha will still start the very first game of the season for Leeds United. And that's, for me, I think Rafa's going to be there. I think that is going to be pivotal to Leeds United's season, because Rasmus Christensen, Rafinha on that right-hand side are going to terrify defences. His strength and his speed and quick thinking, quick feet is going to be a terror on that side.
So this is the more probably the more interesting bit. Who would you have as your left wing, your centre forward, and your attacking midfielder?
For me, Aronson is here.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Aronson is going to be there. Speaks for itself, really. He plays that role. I also think that Rodrigo's potentially going to play that role, and I also think we may see Greenwood in that role as well. So, depending on form, it could be any one of those three. But I think that in this system, I think it's possibly most likely to be Aronson. That leaves me with my left wing, who I think is going to be. My mind's just drawn a blank.
The guy from Feyenoord. It's Sinisterra. You've got to think of Sinatra when you do. What's the guy? John Sinatra.
He's absolutely mint, and he looks to me like he's a right-footed left winger. He cuts inside. Rafinha is a left-footed right winger that cuts inside. And what we've got this whole central system where we talk about players that are playing to the middle. We've got players coming in here and here. We've got him dropping back, Mark Rocker picking the ball up and spraying the ball out in one of three directions. And we see that fast transition. It's Sinisterra coming inside is where he's the strongest, coming onto his right foot and shooting, coming onto his right foot and playing balls inwards rather than crossing and getting to the byline. Not much action going on here, and if there is action going on here, it's with these two players moving forward. And this is the shape that I expect to see this season, leaving, of course, Bamford, if he's in form, if he's actually fit, if he's not like stubbed his toe like he normally does. You know, Joffy, these are the players that we expect to see up top. But one thing that is certain for me, we're concerned about having a 25 to 30 goal a season striker. I think
in the Premier League.
With Sinisterra, we've got a goal threat, 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 we've got a goal threat. What Leeds have been missing is goals from all over the pitch. I don't actually think we need a marquee signing, and for that reason I think Rafinha will stay. We will line up, and I think we will challenge for top 10 without a difficulty. So that being the case, that's what I think. Put down your comments in the box below. What do you think, Dan?
Maybe you get the page up.
We
agreed on Meslier Christensen. I've changed my mind since we wrote this, because I don't think Harrison will be at left back anymore. And we've got Adams and Rocker in the middle. But if we start at right back, Christensen, Meslier, already explained them. My centre back pairing is Liam Cooper and Diego Llorente. Purely because Cox's a great player and I think he's quite injury prone. And I think that he's quite injury prone. He's a good player who can come off the bench, and he is really good depth. I think he is able to start games, and we are able to rotate that. But we finished 9th with Cooper and Llorente. Come on. Cooper is right-footed, Llorente is right-footed. They're both right-footed, but they did so well when we finished ninth. They were the best centre pairing. Llorente is good when he has an experienced head next to him.
He's good in the hair and he's good at distribution.
Yeah, and I think that explains itself. My left back is Dan James. Because I think that Dan James is quick enough that no winger will get past him. He's not afraid of a challenge. He's not got the finishing attribute to his game. But you won't need that if you're at left back. And he can cross over because he's got the pace.
Honestly, I'm not sure I agree.
Okay, well, I'm going to explain you. Because here's my thinking, right? I think we will have Tyler Adams and Mark Rocker in the middle. That's self-explanatory. We've just brought Adams in. I've always thought he was a great player since we got linked with him. Signed him in my Leeds career mode, the rebuild. And people who play career mode will know the feeling when you sign a player and then your club actually goes and signs them in real life. And you sign them on your career mode first. But anyway, going off on a tangent, I think that Adams and Rocker are great players. But obviously, if you watch all the videos, you'll know that any player Leeds are linked with, I'm backing them. So that explains itself. Rocker distributes. So Rocker will play it out, and Adams will drop back or a push up. So then you've got that, right? As the arrows. I think on the left wing that we're going to have Luis Sinisterra, because I think Harrison will go Newcastle for 40 million, and that'll cover our funds for a striker that I'm going to put down in a minute. Now, it's a bit of weird thinking, yeah, but that's what happens with Leeds. Right wing, me and Matt are both in agreement that Rafinha will still be a Leeds player come the Wolves game, because I think if he goes, it's going to be late on in the window, and I'm not convinced he's going to go. So that's my first bit. Up front, it looks like Catalera isn't coming anymore. I don't think that was ever going to happen. I think he'd much rather go AC Milan. If he's even being a rotation player for the champions of Italy, it's just mental. So I think up front we're going to have Patrick Bamford and Callum Wendo, because we were bidding for him early on in the window and put a 20 million bid in. Clearly a good young prodigy, and if we can get him even with a buyback clause, even on loan, I think it would be quite a good signing.
Questions?
Yeah.
Questions. Where is Aronson?
Aronson is, that's the thing. I would probably rotate Rafinha and Aronson. I wouldn't have Aronson starting games off the bat purely because he's quite young. He's not got all the attributes of his game yet.
What about
he's got
Champions League?
He's got Champions League experience.
He's the player that Marsh has wanted to get in and get that position before anybody else.
But I'm purely going on the first game of the season, and this is my starting lineup because I think Aronson should be just like starting on the bench, obviously being in and around the squad, and then at half time he comes on and gets his hat-trick or something. I wouldn't. First game of the season, maybe once he's adapted a bit, start chucking him in there.
Not sure I agree. I think I've accounted for all the 13 players. I think you've got a couple missing now, if I'm honest with you.
Quite a weird one that I've got. But
other news, Tyler Roberts is obviously undergoing a medical, and I didn't even have to get my car out of the garage to drive him there. This is really good. I did offer. I didn't even have to drive him there. But
so tomorrow when we make the video about Bielsa going QPR, you'll know.
Yeah, we know. Bielsa's heading to QPR. And he's going to follow Roberts. Again, we've obviously seen Charlie Cresswell, who's gone to Millwall. I wish him all the best. I mean, obviously gone on a season-long loan, as is Roberts.
I think there is an option to recall Cresswell though, because we might end up needing him.
I'm hoping he has a great season there, beds himself into that side, and comes back to Leeds ready to slip into that first team, replace Cooper as captain, because I actually think this guy is really got something, and I think he's going to be like literally a slab of meat in that centre. Jack Charlton. I know that's a massive shoes to fill, but I think he's going to be great for Leeds in the years to come. So please do us a favour, smash that like, please hit that subscribe button. We are currently just hovering under 800 subscribers, and we've been going for just a little bit over 3 weeks. We would love to get to 1,000 subscribers, preferably before the Australia tour. So please, by all means, hit that like button, comment, let us know what you think of the video, let us know where you disagree. Even put up a picture of what your starting 11 would be. And we'll
be back soon for a preview of the Crystal Palace game, because I think that's quite an interesting one for the first game of the season talk.
Absolutely, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.